Welcome to Needham School Spotlight. I'm Dan Goody-Kanst, Superintendent of Schools. Joining me today are several young women from the middle schools who want to share with us some of their leadership experiences at Pollard and High Rock. I want to welcome Trixie, Karen, Jillian, Isabel, and Amari. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I wanted to really have an opportunity to share with the community some of the really wonderful opportunities that you all have had at High Rock and Pollard around leadership and service learning and even athletics. You have all, your principals tell me, been involved in one way or the other with some kind of opportunities where you are role models, where you have assumed responsibility or demonstrated good sportsmanship or leadership in your school. And I'd really like to share that with the community. I think actually I'd like to begin with you, Trixie, if it's okay. I understand that you are involved in the Social Justice League at Pollard.
Yeah.
So what's that all about?
So it's this group, and we go every Wednesday at 3, and we talk about any sort of injustices that have happened in school and ways that we can fix it, and any sort of like racism or homophobia or anti-Semitism that's happening in school.
So people watching at home might say, well, we don't have problems like that in school, so why would you be talking about them in school? Or do we have some things that we have to talk about sometimes?
Yeah, there are a lot of things that we have to talk about. And the thing is that a lot of people don't want to talk about it and get into the conversation. So a lot of people who might want to have the conversation goes and just figures out what we can do about the school and how to fix it.
And do you work with the principal and some of the teachers there to help have some of these conversations?
Yeah, we work with Ms. Harding and Ms. Strauss. Ms. Strauss is a science teacher for 7th grade, and Ms. Harding is a social studies teacher for 8th grade.
Mm-hmm. And I would imagine that having those conversations can sometimes be difficult. I would also imagine it's probably easier not to have the conversations and maybe just say, you know what, I'll leave that problem for somebody else. But you like to get involved in those kind of conversations. Why?
Because being a woman and being a black student, it's just one of those things where you feel like you need to make yourself feel safe and make everybody else like you feel safe.
Well, that is pretty brave, and I think each one of you has a story like that or that courage inside. Jillian, you were also at Pollard, and you're involved in the student council. Is that right?
Yeah.
So how'd that happen?
So student council meets twice a month on Wednesdays, and I got into student council actually at the elementary schools in Needham. At Mitchell Elementary School, they have a student council, and I did that in 4th and 5th grade, and then I really found a love for like trying to make where I'm working and where all my friends are working a better place. So then when I got to Pollard, I saw that they offered this great student council, and I joined, and I got on an executive board for 8th graders, and it's just really wonderful because students, we get to take charge and do things and activities to make our school more enjoyable, and we get to have like a say in what we want our school to be like.
So what are some examples of what kind of say, or I'll put it another way, you sounds like you've had a voice to share ideas, and I see some nodding heads. It sounds like you've all had a voice in your school. But what does that look like? What are some of the things that maybe you've been involved in or some of your peers have been involved in to make happen?
So we did a Halloween costume drive. We are doing pennies for patients soon. And we did the pumpkin contest. We did a bulletin board contest where the theme was winter. And it's just like fun activities that advisories do to like make the world a better place or just make the school a more enjoyable place. Because when you go into the school like and you see those winter bulletin boards, like it was fun to do as an advisory, but it's also really pretty because advisories put a lot of work into them. So it just makes the school like an overall happier place.
Is that important to make the school a happier place?
Yeah, I think it makes a better environment for us to learn. If you're not happy, you're not going to intake information as much. And it also, when we do like pennies for patients, it makes everyone happier. Like, it makes you feel good, and you know it's making someone else feel good.
What pennies for patients? What's that all about?
So basically, in your advisory, you get a box, and everyone just brings in coins that they find, and then it goes to cancer research for children. So it's really nice. It makes, well, from what I know, our school has raised so many coins and so much money that it really makes a big difference.
And I imagine and hope that it raises some awareness around
Yeah, it
cancer as
does.
well, and kind of brings that into, our thinking that there are people out there that may need our help and help
Yeah.
us learn. I hope it also might inspire one of you to become a doctor to help solve some of those problems. Karen, I understand that you are involved in a whole bunch of things, but one of those programs you're involved in is Launching Scholars, and that you have kind of a neat role there. What is Launching Scholars, and how did you get involved?
Well, Launching Scholars is a math program, actually. We meet on Thursdays, every Thursday at 3 to 3:50, and we do math, and we eat snack, and everybody just kind of hangs out a little bit.
Okay, now wait a minute. Middle school students staying after school to hang out and talk about math. Now, what's that all about?
Well, at first it kind of started as like some students, when they wanted to start a program, some students got a letter saying that they would like to try this and see where it goes. And some of the students, a lot of them actually kind of dropped out, like as it got into the year, but some of them stayed because they the program helped people in math, like they helped them get better grades, and it was better for them. It made math more fun a little bit, I guess.
And that's been helpful to you, the Launching Scholars program?
Yeah.
And also, I would imagine having some conversations and maybe even some fun games with math after school with some snacks and friends is it's kind of a different way to work with math. That's been the case?
Yeah, that's been the case.
And what else have you been involved in at Pollard?
Oh, well, last year when I was in 7th grade, me and Trixie actually, we went to a social justice conference. I forget where it was, though.
And what was the theme at the Social Justice Conference?
Well, we kind of just talked about world problems with racism. It was mostly based on racism.
Okay. Wow. So you have, and I want to get back to you because I think there are a few athletes here and involved in athletics, but we'll get around to all of that. I want to, Amari and Izzy, have you, you're in High Rock and you're getting ready to go to Pollard, where you will have all of these opportunities to be involved. Amari, what have you been involved in at High Rock? I think both of you share some leadership experiences. What are those?
We joined student leadership team where we did these fundraiser things and these big projects to help people in our community. So for example, we did a candy drive where we donated candy to veterans who have helped serve our country. And we also, closer to the beginning of the year, we decorated pumpkins to raise money for a summer camp for kids with disabilities and their parents.
Now, where's that camp? Is it Camp Sunshine?
I
in
think,
Maine?
yeah.
Okay.
Camp Sunshine.
Okay, that's great. And how about you, Izzy? Isabel or Izzy?
It could be Izzy.
Okay, Izzy. What have you been involved in at High Rock?
So I've been involved in most of these things, but we did some centerpieces for a senior center in Needham.
Like floral centerpieces or plants, or
We put in food and other snacks for I think it was a dinner or something.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Thanksgiving.
like a little gift basket.
Mhm.
Or and how'd that make you feel? Was it a chore to get that done? Did you wanted to run home and get home and watch a program on TV or talk to your friends on the phone, or was that something that you enjoyed spending time with?
Well, I like spending time doing that because it makes you feel like you've done something good for the community, and it's also kind of fun because some of your friends are there, and you get to do everything with.
When I was in elementary school, I used to see I was in student council, and we talked a lot about these same things, just not as a greater
Scale.
yeah. And I think that really inspired us to do more in the community because we liked putting smiles on people's faces and just watching them look at all of these things and hear about the things that we've done, and it just makes them smile. And I think that it's not just about doing the work, it's about giving the things to the people and seeing their reactions.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty powerful. You know, I'm listening to the five of you share how you have been actively involved and how you've had some responsibility to help others either get better or to enjoy themselves or to learn from one another. Why do you think, I asked your principals could you select some young women who are leaders in your school? They selected you. Why do you think, I'd like each one of you to respond, why do you think, Jillian, we'll start with you, why do you think you got picked to come and talk to me about your role in leadership?
I think I got picked because I think I know from personally I like to put a lot of time and effort into what I do when I'm doing something. And when I came across student council and I also do best buddies, I put a lot of time and effort and it made me happy, and I like to lead and I like making people feel better and I like making like the world a better place. So it's something I enjoy and it's something I do a lot. So I think I got picked because I think maybe my principal can see like I have a passion for making people feel better and I have a passion for making people happier. So yeah, that's why I got picked.
I like that word passion. I want to come back to that because that's an important word and an important feeling to continue through it. Trixie, why did Ms. Bibbo say, you know what, you have to get on this TV show?
I feel like I've been really striving towards just equality in America, not just America, just the whole world. And
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
I feel like I am so willing to have that conversation with people and so willing to like be out there and say, hey, this isn't okay. Like, you should do this and you should try to think about this and stuff like that, just to like make sure that people feel safe, and not just in the school but just like America and just everywhere they go, I guess.
It's a huge thing. It really is. It's very impressive. Karen, what do you think? Why are you sitting here on the stage today having this conversation? Why were you chosen?
I think I was chosen because I have a voice. Like, I don't know how to say this. Like, every time you give me something, like, I don't know, something, I will always tell you what I think about it and give you my opinion on it. And if you don't want to hear me, I will like make sure you hear me. That's my thing.
So, okay, you have to tell me more about that. So you feel you have a voice at school, for example, and you also feel that it's important to share your perspective and your opinion about something that may come up. Is that fair?
Yes.
So has there been an example of that at Pollard this year, or if not at Pollard, somewhere, even if it's in the community, where you raised your voice, you participated in the conversation?
I don't really think about at school, because at school, like, people want to make sure you have a voice.
Okay.
But at home, like, sometimes with my friends, I guess, like, they, like, sometimes they don't really look for your opinion, so I kind of give them my opinion,
Okay.
I guess. I don't know how to
Is your opinion welcomed?
Not always.
Okay. Well, that may mean that you're challenging people to think differently, and so sometimes, that's how that goes. Amari, why are you sitting here with us, with having this conversation? How did you get picked for this conversation?
Well, I like to do a lot of things to help our community, and I'll figure out a way I can help our community. Like, I feel like I'm always helping the community in some way, if it's like picking up trash on the street that I see, or like helping someone who's disabled across the street or something like that. And I think that my teachers and principals have realized that I'm always gonna help people, even if I don't want to. If I don't feel comfortable doing it, I'll find a way that person or that thing can be done. And I also feel like they chose me because I have done a lot of things to help in the community, and I'm willing to say give my opinion, like,
Yeah, as
she
Karen
said.
suggested, you're willing to kind of step up and
Yeah.
voice that concern. Izzy, what do you think? Why are you part of this conversation?
Well, it is kind of confusing because that is a very interesting question to ask someone, but I honestly think it's because that, many, I think it's because, well, being on a leadership team is kind of like someone thinks you're a good leader, a good friend, a good person to be able to talk to, and I think that's one of the most important things about being a leader, because when you're a leader, I think there's something really important about being able to talk to people and being able to speak your own mind, being able to have your own ideas, and being able to add on to someone else's speech. I think that's really important.
And you're able to do that. I think that's probably why Ms. Downey said you should participate in this conversation. I like what you said, that as a leader you can kind of add on to the thinking. You know, and picking up a little bit on what Karen said, sometimes you want to say, this is what I'm thinking. Sometimes, though, a leader says, you know what, that's a good idea, and I think we also should think about this. So that adding on is a good leadership trait. That's something I have to think about every day because I'm not always really good about it. A couple times I've heard the word uncomfortable. You know, sometimes things are uncomfortable. Leadership can be uncomfortable because sometimes you have to go out of your way. You have to do something that's unpopular. You have to do something that's hard. You know, other people are like, no, you go ahead and do it. I want to be with my friends. Or sometimes it's uncomfortable because you're standing up for somebody. Have any of you had an experience of something that you have done that has been uncomfortable, but as you reflect on it, it was a leadership moment? Amari?
Well, I had a couple of friends. I'm not that close with them anymore, but I had a couple of friends who disagreed with me on what they thought of someone, and I didn't think that was right, so I stood up for that person, and I felt uncomfortable doing it because I was basically going against my friends, but it felt right because why should they be my friends if they're going to go against someone, like some innocent person who didn't do anything to harm them or do anything to them.
Was it easy to stand up to them, or was it uncomfortable?
It was uncomfortable because I'm standing up to people I've been with for a while, and it just, like, you don't know if they're going to take that personally, if they're going to be okay with that.
Jillian, I see you shaking your head that you've had an experience like that, haven't you?
So I have like kind of a throwback to 5th grade. My class went to the senior center, and it's a bunch of 5th graders with like seniors, and no one was really talking. So I just got up and I went and sat down. Like all the 5th graders would come, I left them. I went and sat down with all the seniors, and I talked to them, and I ate pizza with them, and we had like conversations, and they could relate to stuff that we could talk about, and like I made 3 new friends that day, and like I still remember that, and like they like showed me how to do some knitting stitches, like, and it was just so much fun because like they told me stories about when they were younger, and I told them what it's like when I'm in 5th grade. I just remember that because I remember then after I did that, like more kids started to sit down. Like my friends came and sat down.
I was going to ask you, did everybody just stay where they were? Or did they say, wow, well, if Jillian can do this?
Yeah, so like my friends started coming, and then everyone else started coming, and then by the end of our lunch with the seniors, like everyone was like saying like goodbye to their new senior best friends. So yeah, it was really a good day.
That sometimes being uncomfortable is to make a stand, and sometimes it's to lead the way so others can say, okay, someone kind of tested the water and it's not as cold as we thought. Maybe we can jump in. Trixie, I've had the sense that, you know, in sharing what you think is important and thinking about equality and equity, you've had some uncomfortable experiences.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about one of those?
So often in class, like we had the racism unit, and often like a student might say something that's like kind of off, and that's like, I understand that they're learning about it, and I'm willing to educate them about the subject and why what they said is not okay and what they can do differently to make sure that they're not interfering with anyone's safety or something like that, or anything like that.
So when you say, I'm going to push a little bit. When you say somebody might say something in class that's off, give me an example.
So any sort of racist thing, like I've had a couple instances where students might say something that's pretty racist, and I would call them out on it. Be like, hey, why'd you say this, and what was the reason behind it, and were you saying it to be funny or really like serious about what you said, or just like curious? And I would just educate them, and as best I can, because I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything, and I would take the knowledge that I have from Social Justice League and any of my experiences and just put it all in this one huge speech to that student.
Now, let me ask you this. I can imagine this might be an uncomfortable conversation you've had, for example, with a white friend.
Yeah.
Is that possible? And is it you pointing the finger and saying you should know better, or is it, this is how this makes me feel, and can we talk about it?
Yeah.
Because there are different ways to approach it. What's the best way to approach something like that?
In the more concerned, educating way. I don't really get mad if it's like something like super serious. I'd probably get like pretty mad, but if it's just some little thing that they don't really know a lot about, I would try my best to be calm and to try and not seem so know-it-all-ish, because I know that makes people uncomfortable in that conversation, but I'm typically not uncomfortable talking about it because I do it so often, and I try hard to make a difference in the school by just having that one little conversation with one student.
Has anyone else had an uncomfortable moment? Amari, you have one more?
Yeah. So sometimes people make comments to me. So they think I'm a little underweight for my age. Like, I'm a little skinnier, I'm a little smaller, but that doesn't mean I'm a different person. So I have some people come up to me and they're like, oh yeah, you should be eating more, but we should be eating less than you. And when people say that to me, I just don't feel welcome. I don't feel like I can be better than them, and they seem bigger than me, and I have to prove to them that even though they might be taller than me, I still have a voice, and it doesn't matter that they're teasing me about how much weight I am or how skinny I am or small. And some people are put your hands up to mine, and their hand is much bigger than mine, and they're see, I have these bigger hands, and your hands are so small that you can probably not do these things.
So that may be an uncomfortable encounter, but you're able to approach it and say, hey, I still have a voice, and there's a person here, and let's have that conversation. I'm thinking about all of this girl power assembled right here, and it's pretty amazing. And I'm really excited that you are having these experiences in the Needham schools, and that you are sharing your perspective and your voice with others to make the school at Pollard and High Rock better, but also, frankly, our community, because we need a lot of that. We need you multiplied by 1,000. And you have many peers, boys and girls, at your schools who are doing some of the same leadership actions that you are. One of the things I'd like to know about, my daughters are out of college now, and I have 3 daughters, but I'm wondering now for you, in this generation, who are the role models that you look to, who are leaders, who have the qualities that you say, I want to be like that person. That person's important to me. Who are some of those people? They might be personal to you. They might be famous. Who are they? What are those qualities?
Well, I have one. She's she's one of my coaches. Well, she was one of my past coaches for hockey, and she's this. She's really nice. She's a very powerful person. She's very intimidating. She has this very, when she walks into a room, everyone's oh, look at this person, I should pay attention to her more, because she's this big, powerful woman. And she has, I think, 5 kids. She has 2 dogs. She has a great family. She has a larger circle family, because she has our hockey team. And she kind of put me in this position, well, do I want to be someone who's, I don't want to say a bystander, because everyone has their own voice, but do I want to be this person, or this person. And I chose to be the kind of person that I want to be. And I want to be this person who, when I walk into a room, I want to be heard. And I think that's pretty cool.
You want to have a presence and you want to have a voice,
Yes.
not just to stand to the side. And that coach has kind of shown you the way to do that. Who else is a role model for Jillian? Who's a role model for you?
So Ashley, I did Needham Junior Cheer, and we had a lot of high school coaches, and just like seeing the girls in high school and like thinking, oh wow, I'm gonna be there soon, it helped me like see this is like what they do, and they're like great students, and I can tell how nice they are. Like this is like how I want to be, and when I'm in high school, and I want to be this nice of a person and this involved of a person.
So there's this person, let's not call him. So he would sometimes push me around and like call me names and like always do these kind of things to me. And I like, even if he like demanded things from me, I couldn't say no because, you know, I couldn't stand up for myself. And my friend, she didn't look intimidating. Sometimes she does, I guess, but she still like stood up for me, and she was strong, and she did things for me, and like that's someone I want to be. I want to be there for somebody who can't do things for themselves and like help them get them along to where they need to be. I want to do that.
So high school students as role models, coaches, and friends are often some of our role models. Well, I have to tell you, I wish we had more time. We don't have more time. I have a lot of more questions for you. Maybe we'll have to do this again. But I'm sitting here with these 5 brave, courageous young women from High Rock and Pollard. And you've shared your voice here. You're sharing your voice at school and in the community. It will be heard. I can tell it is being heard. And that's empowering. And I just hope that you continue as you go into Pollard and as you go into the high school, that you continue to share your voice and that you continue to be leaders, because this world needs strong women leaders like you. And I really appreciate you sharing your stories this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.